T minus 30 seconds. T minus 20 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Good.
You ready for do more in the future? Trap Talk podcasts?
Yes.
Man,
Only Trap Talk. Exclusive.
Yes,
exclusive. Oh,
So stop calling us.
Rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the crop, gotta love it or not. I'm hot from the hop to the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with everybody, we do it. Everybody, we do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with
you are now tapped into the coolest reptile podcast in the world. I'm your boy MJ. Happy Thursday. Woo, I feel good. If this is your first time tapping in, what is good? Time to get your mind right. About to be an awesome podcast tonight. Very excited. But before we get into things, if this is your first time tapping in, do your boy a favor. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that notification bell. Be a part of that notification gang. That way you're on top of every podcast I drop here, every live session, every trap clip, you name it. Whatever I put out, if you hit that notification bell, you won't get slept on any of it. So I do appreciate it. If you subscribe, definitely appreciate it. If you're somebody who comes back, watches, and you're a subscriber. If you're somebody who comes back and chooses not to subscribe, whatever. Fuck. Weirdo. Anyways, hit that subscribe button. Don't be a weirdo. Don't be weird. I like weird, not that kind of weird. But anyways, guys, you know how we get things started. I see people in the early bird comments. Fuck yeah, I'm about to get to you guys in a second, but you guys know how we roll in this fucking podcast. For the freshest and bestest rodents delivered to your doorstep, cold-blooded cafes, the number one in the game, $30 flat rate shipping, straight to your doorstep. Day one pinks, mammoth rats, that's where it's at, cold-blooded cafe. If you have eggs, put them inside of a sim box. If it's a sim, it's a win all day, every day. Shout out to Sim Container. Go give them a follow on Instagram and go follow their monitor game. It is top notch. Speaking of top notch, next level PVC built enclosures. I'm speaking about Focus Cube habitats, man. I'm sitting in a room full of brand new spanking fucking Arcadias. They're 3x2x2s technically, but they're called Arcadias. And I have about 12 of them right now, and I'm going to get more. But guys, head over to Instagram. Check them out. Place an order. They are literally the best PVC enclosure company in the game by far. So appreciate Stephen and Ashley. Shout out to the number one stainless steel rack company in the game. That's Freedom Breeder, made out of the United States. Shout out to Jesse and the entire Freedom Breeder crew. Shout out to the number one Mexican ball python breeder in the game, in my opinion, for sure, 110%. That's Miguel Garcia. Always evolving pythons. Go give him a follow on Instagram. Go give him a follow on Morph Market. Be ready because he is going to have shit hitting the fan here pretty soon. Yeah, shout out to my boy Miguel. Thank you for your support, big dog. Shout out to Tina and the entire AEP family. Shout out to my boy Alan over at Amazing Basins. I'm obsessed with basins. And if you are too, you need to be following my boy Alan. He has a lot to share, a lot of knowledge, a lot of success with this amazing species of snakes, the Ferrari of arboreal snakes by far. Check him out, my boy Alan. Thank you for your support, big dog. And then shout out to mommy Blake Stewart. Definitely came through with some collateral. gave me some sick signage for my Trap Fest 2022 event. I want to say shout out to my boy Blake Stewart, came through in the quickness. That's my dog right there, man. If you personally want to invest in your brand, if you want to invest in a marketing to the fullest extent, this is where you need to go, 110%. Especially if you got money to back up your shit. You don't want to go anywhere else. Stewart Design is where it's at. Shout out to my homie Blake Stewart, helping the best in the game. And then the best in the game, period, in my opinion. And I'm not saying that because he's my boy and he got done hanging out with me all week last week. Mark Bailey Reptiles. Damn, the OG, triple OG. This guy, one of the most highly respected Paul Python breeders, rodent breeders in the game by far. Anyone I talk to that's been in this game long enough fucking respects the shit of this guy, man. So if you have no idea who Mark Bailey Reptiles is, head over to Morph Market, go see what his availability is, and you're going to see exactly what kind of heat this guy works with. Shout out to my boy, Mark Bailey. Thank you for your support, big dog. Cannot wait to hang out with you again. And shout out to Rami over at the Reptile Super Show for throwing such a successful reptile show at the Anaheim Convention Center. Had a great time tapping in with everybody Saturday. What a time. Thank you again to Rami for throwing such an amazing event. Pomona right around the corner. And then we have, I believe, this weekend, if it's not this weekend or next weekend, sorry, I need to get on my shit. It's been a crazy week, but NARBC Schaumburg right on the corner too, very soon. If you're going to Schaumburg, let me know. Drop a comment. Let me know how excited you are for Schaumburg. I won't be there, unfortunately, but my spirit will be there, whatever that is. But anyways, I want to say shout out to Bob Ashley and Brian Potter for just literally being a part of this leadership in the industry. These three guys right here are bringing all of us together throughout the year, and something we got to take advantage of, man. Go to a show and get your face out there, link it up with other people, man. And I gotta say shout out to Phil Goss at US Arc. The fight never stops. Head over to YouTube, subscribe to the US Arc channel, and make sure you stay on top of current events, and then also be a member, man. If you've already thought about it and you're ready, well, then let's do it. Go down to the link below, become a US Arc member today, and rep that shit with pride. Shout out to you if you support US Arc. We're on the same team. Let's go. Thank you again, Phil Goss. And then if you out there want to follow my work more than the podcast, if you want to see what I have going on other than the podcast stuff, best thing to do, go give me a follow on Instagram, MJ Exotics Cartel. I'm very active. I post a lot of my passion projects up there, and then even stuff I have for sale, like ball pythons, and that's it. Actually, I have Super Dwarf, by the way. If you were looking to tap into the Super Dwarf game, I do have a handful of high-end Super Dwarf babies available. Hit me up if you want to invest in that game. They are Acevedo lines, the real deal Holyfield, Kalatoa localities. Yes, anyways, hit me up. I got Super Dwarf stuff, and give this podcast Instagram page to follow as well, Trap Talk with MJ Podcast. Shout out to my Twitch viewers. I appreciate anyone watching from Twitch. And then if you out there would like to support what I do, this podcast stuff, if you want me to keep going, I accept any donations over at Exotics Cartel on PayPal. Exotics Cartel with an A, not an E. And then you could also support me by just sending any super chat or question you have for Amy. If you have a question for Amy, send a super chat and I'll make sure I put that question on the big screen. We will ask this question because I'm going to have shitload of questions. I mean, dude, this is going to be an awesome podcast. But anyways, if there's an important question that you really want to ask and you want to make sure I ask it, you better super chat that shit. Last but not least, my Patreon family. I love you guys so much. Shout out to all my Patreon members, my Trap family growing by the day. If you out there want to support me more than the podcast, and if you want more information, if you want to tap in more than what you see here, the best way to do that is go down to the link and join the Trap Talk Patreon family today. Once you join the Patreon family, I send you a link to the Discord. The Discord taps you in with over 100 trappers nonstop 24/7. It's very active, anywhere from snake stuff, all reptile stuff, all life type stuff related. I'm telling you, right? It's something you don't want to miss. So appreciate all my trappers. I'm dead serious. You guys are my heart, and my Patreon members. I love you guys. Anyways, let's fucking rock and roll. Who's ready? Who's here? Hold up. I'm sorry. I get excited, and I don't even know who's in the building right now. Who is ready for this podcast? Julio, what is good? Trap Talk Patreon member all day, every day. Big Mike in the building. 1776 Exotics Trap Talk Patreon member all day. The homie Kurtz, Creatures in the building. What is good? Trap Talk Patreon member all day, every day. The homie Jake Hull, another Trap Talk Patreon member all day, every day. Damn, the homie Bruce Carpenter. What's up, Bruce? Thanks for tapping in. The homie Heathen Hatchery. Definitely a Trap Talk Patreon member all day, every day. Big homie Mason Johnson tapping in. What is good? Trap Talk Patreon member all day, every day. The homie Wise Guys. What is good? Thanks for tapping in. The big homie Jacob, Trap Talk Management in the building. Thanks for tapping in. Force Python, the homie Kevin. Thanks for tapping in. Trap Talk Patreon member all day, every day. The homie Jay, Big Barber Jay in the building. Trap Talk Patreon member all day, every day. The homie Nate Dogg in the building. Trap Talk Patreon member all day, every day. Carreras Exotic Reptiles. What is good? Damn, what do you know? Look who it is. Alex and Sandra, my Florida couple. How you doing? Thanks for tapping in. Let's see. Serpent. Eclipse Reptiles, what is good? Thanks for tapping in. Benzi B, what is good? Thanks for tapping in. Austin Anderson, what is up, player? Trap Talk Patreon member all day, every day. Brandon Wheeler, damn, Brandon Wheeler killed it at Trap Fest. Definitely one of the most talked about individuals, almost at any party. You want to have a successful party, invite Brandon Wheeler. He's going to literally, even if the party's lame, he will be having the funnest time out of everyone, and he will make you feel good. That's my boy. Keith Flax, what is good? Big Chondro, Emerald. Dude, your last name should be Flex. More like Big Flex, because this full flex is hard when it comes to breeding. Patrick Rose, what is good? Thanks for tapping in. Rorio, what is good? Thanks for tapping in. The homie Angel, what is good? 310 Reptile Club in the building. Trap Talk Patreon member all day, every day, by the way. Chantel, what is good? Thanks for tapping in. Trap Talk Patreon member all day, every day. The homie Derek Pides in the building. Trap Talk Patreon member all day, every day. Arthiz, what is good? Trap Talk Patreon member all day, every day. Josh Fenelon, Trap Talk Patreon member, actually flew in from Michigan at the time of his life. Thanks for tapping in, bro. I appreciate you coming. Jose, what is good? Thanks for tapping in. The homie Sean Perry, Sound Serpents, what is good? Thanks for tapping in. And we're going to end it with Sean Perry. All right, that's it. Glad everybody's here. 50 people in the building. I hope there's 50 likes. Let's get the likes up because we're going to get things started with this guest of mine, Amy Benzi. I'm not going to lie. I noticed this awesome chick. Excuse me, I don't mean to call you a chick. This awesome lady doing some awesome stuff in the wild. You know, if it's one thing I love is having someone who comes and has a lot of experience working with the species, but then when you have someone who's actually working with the species in their actual habitat, like their real life habitat, the natural habitat, I have so many questions. This lady is really going out there and figuring out things that a lot of us wish we could. But either way, she's tapping in now, and here she is, Amy Benzi of Happy Basins on Instagram.
Greetings.
And she's out. Look at her. She's way out there, guys.
So if you can hear me, I was waiting for you to come on so Isis could come out.
Well, yeah, please keep telling us more. What is going on right now?
What I did here is I attached a removable vine here that I make out of soaker hose and copper wire, and I twist it up like what I see in nature.
You made that?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I use Ecos paint, so it's all reptile safe. But I connect that into her enclosure, and then I also connect it up here to her jungle gym vine.
So basically, it has access to roam around your whole room if it really wanted to.
Yes, and they do. Whoa, she tried.
Oh, and she just said hi to you. Woo!
She's really hungry. Yeah.
Let's go. That's how we start things here. Oh, man.
But as long as I get her focused on what's above her, she'll forget about me. So I've actually been holding her back here for about 10 minutes because as soon as I put this vine in there, she came right out because I had the light had gone off. They're automatic, so they emulate sunset.
Why do I have a feeling, Amy, that snake knows like we're on camera? Like I feel like that she knows that there's some sort of like attention on her right now.
She knows she's amazing.
Yeah, she knows she's amazing. Oh my God. Okay. Why don't you give us the background on that snake if you don't mind, since we're looking at her and that's kind of still in the show right now. What is the background on that snake?
She came from Steve Volk when she was 3 years old.
3 years old.
She was part of one of his holdback projects, her and her litter mate that I have here. And so I was really fortunate to get them. When I was first trying, I've only had basins for 2 years. This is only my second year last month.
Whoa. Okay. So it's funny you say that because I want to say it was maybe a year and a half ago. You posted some pictures of you on some sort of a excursion in the jungle. When was the first time you actually put some pictures of that out? That refresh my memory.
I think it was all of June 2021 last year.
That was the first time. That was you. You'd never gone. Okay, so that must have been the first time. And then, how many times have you gone?
5 altogether.
Whoa! Within a year?
Yes, I did one last June, and then this year in 2022, I was out there every month for the new moon. So the new moon, the 1st of February, I went out there the end of January, came back. I went to Peru, Colombia, and Brazil, and then I came back and then left right away and went to Suriname. And then I left Suriname and went right back for the next new moon, back to the 3 borders. And the whole time I'm just searching for emeralds. That's my sole purpose. But
So let's
and then back
dig,
to Suriname.
let's dig into why, where this all started, Amy. I'm curious on where this passion really stems to where it's at in your life right now.
I've always liked snakes since I was a little girl. I grew up in an apartment complex basically, and I was the only girl, and I was allowed to have a snake and nobody else was. So it just kind of became me, like I was the girl with the snake. And then my daughter had snakes when she was little. And then it's really been over 20 years since I had snakes. When I was in my late 20s, I had snakes. And then I never did for the last 22 years. So
wow, that's a big break.
I really wanted a pet snake. I was just wanting something, and I was Googling all different types of snakes. I always had snakes I caught in the wild, bull snakes and, rat snakes, king snakes, just anything I can find in Tucson. So that's where I'm from. And so snakes and lizards were my thing, and I would catch lizards and feed them to the snakes, and I would put stuff around my house to keep the snakes wanting to stay there, like warm water and heating rocks and lights and things like that, so they could come and go if they wanted to or not.
That's awesome.
And so anyways, and then when I wanted a snake, I had actually chose a false water moccasin, because I watched so many videos of how friendly they are, and it was really cool how you could put down a plate of all different meats and it would eat the meats, and I just really liked how the videos were of them, and they looked cuddly, And my husband did a little bit of research. My husband never touched a snake in his life.
Wow.
And he did a little bit of research and said he didn't think that was the right animal that he would want to have. So he said he was going to find something that he loved, and he found these. So I was just going to get a pair of I was just going to get a pair of northerns. I was going to try to track some down because it was impossible to find these. And then, the price, if they're higher than the northerns. And then my husband said, you know what, if we're going to do this, we're going to get the one that I like the best. So we got our first one. And then at that time,
I like his taste.
Yeah, he has that kind of taste for everything, really.
That's awesome.
But we got the one, and then I had sent emails out to everybody that I could possibly find with basins, like on all the websites and emails, and I just got some information back. And then after we got the one, I got the email about these two from Steve Volk. And so after learning how hard they are to find and how special they are, we just jumped on every one we've had the chance really to get.
I mean, and I will say, just to get a production from Steve Volk, it'd be something legendary. That guy's done so much great work with these animals, northerns as well. I mean, shout out to Steve Volk. Let's just say that, plain and simple.
Hey,
so
Steve rock.
Yeah, he does rock. Shout out to Steve. So okay, I mean, listen, I feel like things are always meant to happen in this game. I definitely believe in that, and I feel like since the way you're looking, it just happened to line perfectly to where Steve had something available to hand over to you. And I'm curious on what it was like when you first took that snake in. Did you immediately put it in an enclosure like you had it right there, or what was it? Did you quarantine it? What did you do when you took the snake over from Steve? I'm just curious.
We did not quarantine any of the animals that we've gotten from Steve.
Because you had no other snakes, though, to be fair, right? These were
we did have one, but I mean, it's Steve Volk, so I didn't do it. Okay. I didn't quarantine him. I didn't feel it was necessary. I have one animal in quarantine right now, and it's real hard because he can't enjoy all the rain chamber and the jungle gym. He has to stay in there for 60 to 90 days. Steve told us to do.
Where's that snake from, real quick, before we move forward? Where's that snake from?
He's actually the litter mate to my first snake, Asmoa, and
Oh, cool.
we love her colors. She's just got some pretty patterns on her. So when her brother became available, we've been watching him on Facebook for the last 2 years because Tom Soma got his the same time we got ours. He's actually the one who led me to this one. So we've been watching them. And so when he became available, we drove from Arkansas to not Boston, a little south of Boston, not even Boston. I can't.
Not Massachusetts. It was in Massachusetts or not that
Maybe.
state?
I don't
Okay.
think it was.
Anyways, in
It
that
was right
we'll,
below, like New York.
in that region. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Awesome. And so you've had the snake for how long now?
That one we've had for 2 years. So she'll be 3 in September. Her and her litter mate that's in quarantine will be 3.
Okay. Awesome.
And then
Wow.
these animals that I have here, Isis and Zaltis, they're going to be 4.5. So they really could. Can you even see her?
I could see her. I mean, yeah, I could see what we're looking at here. So I mean, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
That's your basin right there, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Beautiful. And that's a female, you said?
Yes.
Okay.
And I do, like I open up Zaltis's door. He's really blue right now. He's probably even. Oh, she saw that hot phone. She's getting coiled up. Zaltis is just about ready to shed. So she just got done shedding and she's super hungry. When they're really hungry, that's really the best time to mess with them because they're curious and they'll come out. And like right now, she would like to ambush me, but all I have to do is just touch her under the chin with the hook and redirect her and she'll wake right up.
Right.
Just get hypnotized. And she does like the hot phone.
I notice you. That's a good call out there because I do notice if you leave them perched somewhere for a while, they kind of get locked in and zoned out for a while to where like almost anything's in the danger zone like that. You know what I'm saying? So you have, and then just, it's funny you say that, just a little tap under the chin, just to kind of let them know like, yo, this is not feeding time. And they do kind of chill. And watch her get bit. Oh, please don't get bit. Have you ever been tagged yet, Amy? You have. Okay. Let's talk about that real quick. How big of the emerald was it that tagged you?
The first time was with her. She does not like to be manhandled, or not manhandled, but like she likes to do whatever she wants. So she doesn't like me to tell her where she has to go. And it was just a little tag, nothing. It wasn't like a strike, that first one. It was just a little tag on my hand, kind of reminded me of my German Shepherds when you would tickle them behind the ear, just like,
Right.
Very light. But then there was another time that this really was not very smart, but I was making a video after another podcast I had done, and the snakes were out. And I was like starting over on the other side of the room, and I would walk back and I was talking and zooming in on the snakes. And it was like maybe the 6th time I went through and made the exact same video.
Yeah.
And I had been going under her because I saw her getting in an ambush mode. And I just, like the 6th video, I just forgot. And I walked right under her and she went to snap at my phone. So
Amy, I'm going to say this, and with all due respect, okay, because this is not easy to do a podcast and have something like that, no matter how much you trust it. I got to give you props. This is crazy that you could actually maintain your composure, and you almost got tagged like 3 times. I mean, obviously, you're snake, but still, like, I can never do that. I can never do that. What you're doing, I can never do it. I got to give you props because you're really tapping in with your animal right now, and I think it's great. But right now, that snake wants to fuck you up with all. Excuse my French.
No, she doesn't.
I think she wants. This is what I think. Okay, and I just feel like she thinks there's something else than the normal going on right now. I'm pretty sure she sees this camera, she sees this phone. She's not too happy right now. That's not a happy snake. And,
yeah, she is.
she said, yeah, she is. Oh my God, I love it.
She is. She thinks she might be getting fed. She's really excited right now.
Okay, that's a good kind of happy. I mean, that's a way of happiness. I guess.
Yeah.
I just give you props. This is awesome. This is the first time. Amy, this is episode 215. This is the coolest episode so far. Thank you for doing this. This is awesome. Okay, I gotta say, yes, I'm obsessed. This is amazing. So let's kind of talk more about the species real quick. Overall, what's your total count? How many emeralds do you have right now altogether? Basins?
7.
Wow. Oh my God, I love it. Okay, and this is all started 2 years ago. This collection started 2 years ago. Am I right? Okay.
Yeah.
So as of right now, what's the game plan? Obviously, you want to raise them up, get them acclimated as great as possible. But are breeding in the future for any of these snakes, or what's going on with that?
We would definitely breed. We didn't give a major attempt, but we do open Zoltus's door and Isis's door and put these removable vines. And Isis pretty much stays in her enclosure, and even if she comes out like right after sunset, she'll be back in her enclosure in 2 hours. She doesn't ever really, sometimes she'll move about a lot. But Zoltus comes out and he will cover this whole room. He'll go all in and out of her enclosure and come back out and go this way and that way, on these vines.
That's male behavior for you. Yeah, males, I noticed chondros or emeralds, they're explorers, man. They, especially if there's pheromones and there's something going on, oh man, they go all over. That's kind of a sign, they say, when you are trying to pair, is when you see the male going everywhere at night. But I'm curious, so you've never actually kept, I'm sorry, what's the male's name? Zelda? What's the male? Zeltus. Zoltan? Zoltus, excuse me. So Zoltus, you've never kept Zoltus in with Isis for a couple days at all, or you have?
Yeah, for weeks. I'll let him, if he decides to go in there, he can go in, and then I'll let him stay in there as long as he's sleeping at a good height. But I notice once he gets really hungry in there, he'll just sleep all the way down at the bottom. And I don't really like that. That's when I put him back in his, because I just feel like he needs to do that when he's too hungry.
Okay. Yeah, it's funny you notice how, I feel like they always prefer the high ground versus the low ground. So if he's on the low ground, that's kind of like a sign of something for sure.
They just hungry. They always do. They right after they eat. Look at her puffing up. Right after they eat, I will. She's used to that. Right after they eat, they always sleep at the top.
Right.
And then 2 weeks later, they're down pretty low.
Wow.
So she's been sleeping all the way down on those branches because she's really hungry.
What's the let's talk about the caging you have going on, because I've never really seen that style. I mean, I think it's awesome, but what are your cages made out of? Where'd you get them at?
Let me turn my camera around if you want, because
no worries. I like your hammock too. Cool hammock.
Thank you.
Your whole room is awesome. I'm not gonna lie.
Thank you.
Really looks really chilling. All right.
Okay, back camera.
Woohoo! All right. Dang,
all right. So this is the room.
Wow. I love it.
And this is a rain chamber that we got from Steve Volk. And we put these faucets in here. Okay. And it has water temperature control with photo developing equipment.
Wow,
so
that's awesome.
I take this hose and I can water the plants and fill up their water bowls and spray the entire snakes because the water temperature is correct.
That is awesome.
I also have filtration system down here for the hot and cold both. And then inside the rain chamber, we have all of these misting systems up here. And then Steve has these removable perches. And he had more, but I took out the upper ones because it was encouraging the snakes to try to crawl up there.
Okay.
Then I wrapped soaker hose. I wrapped soaker hose on everything. I wish everybody.
I love that. I really want it. I love it. So what is the material called? What is that called?
It's just soaker hose. There's 1/4-inch soaker hose and 1-inch soaker hose.
And then what did what material did you use to paint it, or what did you use to kind of make it look like a line?
This one's not painted. This is just regular, but these soaker hoses are different. These are filled with copper wire. And
got it. Okay.
10 gauge and 6 gauge copper wire. So it's nice and firm, but still flexible. And it's painted with what's called Ecos paint. And that is a reptile safe paint.
So wait, what do you have over the copper wire? What is it? What's the material over the copper wire?
Soaker hose, like you know what you would use
Oh,
for garden.
got it. So you put the copper wire in the soaker hose, like basically.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's neat. That's
We
very
thread it in
crafty.
there.
And did you think of that? Did someone give you that idea, or did you think of that?
Yes, I watched a guy on YouTube. I wish I could remember his name, but that was a long time, well, over a year ago, so I don't remember.
That is neat. I like it.
It was a great idea.
Yeah, you don't have to
And
worry
then,
about it being wet. You know, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and the paint is great. This enclosure of Isis's is a, retired salon display case. It's all tempered glass. We got it on Facebook Swap Shop. It was a really, really, really good deal. And then we put the back side, we covered with window film. And then we just like all these natural vines in here that she has.
I love it. I'm so in love with your room right now. This is crazy.
I'm just helping her see that she could go up higher.
Yeah. She's gorgeous.
She is. Look at that body.
Okay, one more time. This isn't Isis, right?
Oh, yes, that is Isis. Sorry, girl.
Oh, this is Isis. And Isis, what's crazy, let's kind of talk about what Isis went through recently, which I feel like a lot of people who've never seen this before might kind of freak out. But the way Isis was kind of acting before she shed, she had her mouth kind of open and she was kind of puffed up.
Since I have the camera this way, let me just finish showing you real quick.
Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah.
But inside of these enclosures, this is little Cash. He's just a baby.
Oh
and each enclosure has these sprinkling systems, a fluval light, and a heat source.
That's so sick.
And then they all have a fan and everything. So there's a lot of technology in it.
Yeah, a lot of work, a lot of tedious work. I see that's behind it. She'll come back. Wow, that's awesome, man. You want to, you think you've seen sick rooms, right? And then you see something like that, which the temperature water, like the I would love to have that. That's crazy. There she is.
Sorry.
You're good. You there?
Yes, I just was trying to switch my camera back around and.
So okay, who's the engineer behind all the water system? Like, whose idea was this? You or your husband? Who really kind of put all this together?
I mean, we both get ideas, and then here, girl, you could go back in. She is getting too excited.
She wants to eat. Feed that girl.
She's not going to eat till Sunday.
Yeah, she'll be all right. Oh, look at that. Wow. Mouth open, bro. Look at this. So many people think
this isn't even normal. She's really frizzy.
It's the cameras, man. She is not happy that she's on a live without any permission. She didn't sign any waiver for this.
No, she wants her food. And
yeah, dude. She ain't going unless you might want to dissolve a rat right now. Okay, so what's your theory then? So before we get into anything
about
else,
her shedding, you want to go back to that?
Okay. Yeah. Okay, well, then we're getting into something else. But yeah, I forgot.
Okay.
Let's talk about the shedding. Okay.
Yes. So last time, that's the last one. Sorry, girl. Last time she shed, not this last time that happened just now, but 6 months ago she shed, and she got really puffy, and we just got really scared. So we called Steve Volk and or sent him a message and asked him, what was wrong. We were devastated, and he's like, she's just going into shed, that's normal. So now when it happened this time, we were fine with it.
Yeah, I mean, I've had the same exact thing. I had my northerns get super puffy in their shed, and it is kind of alarming when you've never seen it before, but once they shed, it's pretty awesome. Okay. So I am also curious right now because, there's so many misconceptions and I mean, I don't know, this is kind of a different scenario right now because I feel like there's so much food motivation going on with this snake, but the comparisons from northerns and basins, what I mean by comparisons, like one being more docile than the other. I mean, have you worked with any northerns, or is your experience only with basins as far as in your private collection?
Look, she's going back in.
That's awesome. She's over it. Thank God she's over it. Go back home, mamas. Enjoy your night. I'm sorry.
She,
Thank you. We appreciate you.
yeah, I knew she was gonna be extra active tonight because she's so hungry, and
She was active for sure.
she was a little more than I actually had ever seen. She like leaving her mouth open like that, but she
put a show on
definitely
for
ready
sure.
for a meal. She's gonna have a very nice big fat meal on Sunday night.
See, stuff like that only happens on the coolest reptile podcast in the world. So there you go, Amy. I love it. So okay, but let me ask you this, because you don't have any northerns in your private collection, just basins, correct? Or do you have
Correct.
northerns? Okay.
No, just the basins.
Okay.
But I've never seen a northern in captivity. You guys see her going in there?
Oh yeah, she's going in there. She's camouflaging.
And she'll be around that entire enclosure all night long, nonstop. That's what she's gonna do all night. But the northerns are what I've dealt with in the wild. I did find one Batisi when I was in like south central Peru, near Tambopata on the Madre Dios River. And that's where I found this animal.
Wow.
And it's also, I don't know if you can, I guess you can't really see that good, but I have images of this animal up there too that I had printed because I was working with a research team with Fauna Forever. And there were professional photographers on the team. So we got really good pictures. And then one of the people that worked at the camp, a Peruvian friend of mine, who I ended up taking with me to the 3 borders of Colombia, Brazil, and Peru. But anyway, he had this painted for me, hand painted, and sent it to America. It was a fabulous gift.
That's amazing. I mean, since we're already on the subject, like, why don't we kind of talk about the preparation you did before even going on such an excursion? I mean, how much, thought did you put behind this, or was it kind of spur of the moment, like, I want to go?
Way too much.
Okay, tell me more.
I had so much gear, so much supplies. My husband was joking. He's like, they're going to have to hire elephants to carry your stuff. And I had everything I could possibly need. I went to the Army surplus store and bought the best jungle clothes, what I thought. And
Cool.
that was my first trip. Now I take one backpack and a small bag. I know exactly what I need. It's super simple. I do not need a lot of stuff. I had taken a thermal binocular, night vision goggles. I mean, like, I had everything and plus more. It was a joke at camp, that I had everything. Right. So I didn't do that anymore. Now my goal is just to carry on, which means I can't bring a couple things like a knife I would like to have, but anybody I go with has a knife, and you can always grab a machete somewhere. So. Right.
That's good to know.
Also, a lack of need for the machete now on my new trips, thanks to Igor Zukov, when he helped me plan a trip to Suriname the first time. Well, actually, when I was still in Peru, my travel partner and me called Igor. We had a face chat with Igor and got any advice that he could give us. So he told us which trees to look for and how to search best for them. We were ready for, when you're walking in the jungle, all the trails have to be prepared before you go at night. It's a lot of work.
Right, I bet.
But when you go Igor's way, you just travel along the river. And Igor explained to me, you want to find a nice river that's not, where the trees are not overgrown, because what happens is these animals slither around all night long. Right. And they slither to the ends of the trees where the river is. They just kind of get confused and stay there. So the animals are all throughout the jungle, but they're in this area too, and they're easy to find, and you don't have to get into the bush. You get to stay on the water, which is way better. Wow.
And I'm curious, because Igor's name is right. How did you meet somebody like Igor? How did you tap in with such a awesome guy to take you to these places?
I made a post. I wanted to go travel somewhere again to go look for the basins. Right. And I made a post in the Emerald Tree Boa in forum, the one that Ed Marino runs. Actually, I think I've been in all of the Emerald Tree Boas, asking where was the best place to go hunt for these animals. People knew I had already found one, so it was a serious question. And Igor sent me a message, and he said, you know, that he might have some ideas that could help me. And so he works with a group of professional exporters in Suriname, where many people know that exporting, you know, many different kinds of animals is legal in Suriname and Guyana, unlike the South Amazon River, where you can't import, I don't think, anything. I don't know of anything you can. So anyways, Igor knew a group of professionals, and he set me up with them. And we went out on the lake. We found emeralds, or not the lake, I'm sorry, the river. We drove, it was probably about a 12-hour truck ride, but it took us 22 hours because the road conditions and different things. And it's not uncommon to spend 12 hours in a small canoe sitting on a thing with all equipment around you, you know? That's just, you do that all the time. Practically nightly if you're lucky. If the night's good and you're on a roll and you're finding animals, you'll stay out there till the sun comes up. You don't get tired because you're on a rush, you know?
How rugged is the stay over, like, you know, as far as where you're sleeping and stuff like that?
I've had different conditions. The first time I went with the research group with Fauna Forever, we had some really nice quarters. You know, I mean, the toilet and the shower is far away from camp. It's not like, when I say very nice quarters, you know, relative to other situations, that was definitely the best. Right. The room was netted in. There was a room and it had a, you know, like that green meshy net. It was a big open area with a lot of bunk beds. And there was, we were, I can't remember if it was 9 or 13 different nations represented at that camp. There were quite a few of us. Wow. And it was just an amazing experience. And the quarters were pretty nice. You know, it wasn't just camping. There was a kitchen and everything. Other times, like when I travel the 3 borders, we get to stay in hotels a lot. Sometimes, you know, the hotels will be like 12 little tiny rooms with a bed and a bathroom all the way at the end.
Like a hostel.
Yeah, exactly. And one of my favorite towns to visit is Santa Teresa. And it takes 8 hours to walk there. And you can try to take a motorcycle or you can try to take anything. It doesn't matter. It still takes 8 hours because you will carry the motorcycle. I've traveled that road 3 times now, and we've never, anytime we thought we were going to do something other than walk, it was just more hassle.
Well, and that's in Suriname, the place you talked about?
No, that's actually Santa Teresa is right on the border of Peru and Brazil. It's actually in Peru, but they use all Brazilian coin and follow a lot of Brazilian rules and the more common religion and stuff for Brazil. And
I'm curious, like places like this have how big of a population? Is it, you know, relatively small, like for the most part?
Very small. It's a village. Like Santa Teresa is not even on the map. It's not even recognized as a city. It's just a little village. So it was an amazing experience. I went there twice and I made so many beautiful friends. It was just amazing. And then to get to go back again was even more incredible because, you know, then it feels more like a friend, like you came back to us. And I can't communicate with anybody. I don't speak Spanish, but I have a translator.
That's important, you know, as long as it's all who you know what I mean? So that's the important part. But what's really important here, Amy, is the fact that, you know, you understand how many people I brought on this show that really love this species of snake. You know, people who've bred them, I've had on the show, you name it. But doing something like what you're doing is by far different from any kind of breeding or keeping someone could do privately. I really think not enough people do what you do, because to go in there and kind of see where these people, or excuse me, where these snakes actually acclimate, where they come from, I feel like kind of will give you better understanding on how they should be kept, you know?
Yes, I definitely believe that. I just want to see where it went. Oh, there she is. Okay.
I see her right there at top left, I think.
Yeah, right? She is.
Yeah, I could see her. That being said, since you've been in the wild, you've seen them. What temps do you run in your room? What are you comfortable running with as far as in your own collection since you've actually been in the wild?
Well, I keep everything the same as as everybody else. Like right now, our temperatures are at 79, and that's
Okay.
up high. We have a little alarm system in each enclosure that will go off if the temperature or humidity goes outside of range.
Okay.
And Larry really takes care of all of that. But right now, it's about what other people do nighttime and daytime. It's the same. Whatever Steve Volk told us, that's exactly what it is. And that's just common information you could find. But the thing that I think is so important from my travels is I just love my animals having a variety of, where they, like when they're full, they like to lay at the top. When they're super hungry, they hunt all night and, sleep down low. I just like them to have, and I'll see, Isis especially, she's super expressive and she's very handleable. She's just super hungry tonight. And I really could have handled her if I would have just, kept keeping her up. I could have handled her.
If you had your attention on her, that's the thing. It's
Yeah.
You're too focused. You can't split it 50-50 with her tonight. She wants all the attention.
Right. And, also my body temperature is a lot higher than normal because I've been down in this room. The ambient temperature in this room is 78.
Right.
So that's what it's set at. It has this room has its own system.
And they all have their hotspot all day and night, or do you only keep a hotspot during the day? How do you run the hotspot?
We have this little machine. It's called a Vivarium Electronics, and it runs the Pro Heat panels to stay at a particular temperature. Which I don't really know. I know that's terrible, but it's 79 right now, and so like I said, whatever the books say to do. Larry said all that stuff.
Okay, so as far as feeding goes, what's your feeding schedule like?
It's a lot easier now that the little ones are big enough to eat a small rat because before everybody was on a different schedule, but now I just do 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and everybody eats on the same schedule, and life is so much easier. So I don't need that Excel spreadsheet anymore.
It's funny you say that because, like, as much as I don't want to say record keeping isn't something you should like turn away at, but it is hard to keep up after a while, right? And I will say that the most important time you want to keep record keeping is when you're raising them up, for sure. Just because as they get adults, with my adults, they eat as I feel like they need to eat. Like they're not even on a schedule. I mean, like you said, 3 weeks, could be 3 weeks, could be 5 weeks one time, could be 4 weeks. I don't know. It's no more scheduling when they're big. And I feel like that's the beauty of getting them to that size. But, a lot of people, have a hard time getting their emeralds up to size because they're terrified to feed their emeralds if it hasn't defecated or anything like that. What was your kind of rule of thumb, raising up your emeralds? Did you always let them, have a bowel movement before feeding them? Or did you ever feed with with no bowel movements? How did you approach that? I'm curious.
They've got me trained. People say, oh my God, your snakes are potty trained, but we're the ones who are trained. So these animals, every time it's feeding night, which is really the only time we really handle these animals, like I had Isis out tonight, is on feeding night. So on feeding night, they all come out. My husband's standing here. He's got snakes all over him. And he'll just put them in this rain chamber one after the other. Like I said, the water temperature is about 92 degrees or so.
Right.
And then we just sit here, and it usually takes 3 minutes or less. Or, I mean, it could take up to 10 minutes sometimes, but not usually. And then you just see the snake drop his tail, and you just slip this under it, and he goes in here, take it outside, rinse it out, bring it back, put that snake, go get a different one. And I actually made a video of it, and my husband said I was way too vulgar when not putting snakes pooping on social media.
So I'm curious, at what day do you like to do that? So after you feed them, what day do you like to do that, the rain chamber?
The day before, the same day I feed them. We take them out, we put them in the rain chamber, we take them out of the rain chamber, we just put them on these vines. Mm-hmm. And then when all the animals are done with the rain chamber, then we guide them back down the vines. They go into their enclosures. We turn all the lights off. We leave for about 15 minutes, and then we come back and we start feeding. And these animals, I mean, once we start heating up the first rats in the toaster oven, which is right here in this room, so they can just all smell it. And I'll open the enclosures, and those animals are all have their half of their body. Like you saw,
have a toaster oven. You said toaster oven, correct? Just want to make sure you said toaster oven. Is that what you said, toaster oven? That's epic. Toaster oven.
Yeah, that's what Steve Volk taught us.
I love it. Yeah, I fucking love it. This is nuts. I've never.
And then these are all of our rats here.
Right when you think you know it all, like this is crazy. Because I gotta. Okay, you want to hear something that I just realized that was like very powerful. It's not like your toaster oven, but shout out to Warren Booth. I'm sure you know who Warren Booth is, right? Dr. Warren Booth. He actually helped me out with, because I had this import that I bought that just wasn't eating, this really big import. And he told me that he likes to thaw out his rodents inside like a Ziploc bag. And once it's fully thawed, he likes to put it like on a heat pad, basically getting everything smelly inside that bag. Because right when you open it up, goddamn, there's a whiff, right? And I did that. And boy, did that import just like I was like, whoa, okay, it was a whole nother snake, So it's the same concept. Like I love it. This is, but it's a toaster oven. Wait, what's the temp? Obviously you don't want to bake the shit out of this thing, right? So what temps do you put it on? I'm curious.
You put it on 300 degrees.
Broil?
And then you do. No, I think it's just on bake. You put it on 300 degrees, let it get fully hot, and then you put the fully defrosted room temperature rat in there for 1 minute on each side.
Oh man,
this is so good. It smells yummy.
Are you serious? Do you enjoy the smell of it?
No, it just smells like burnt hair a little bit, but the snakes love it. I mean, I'm telling you, these animals, when we heat up the first rat, every one of these animals is hanging out his door, waiting for his turn.
And everything's systematic, like you said. It goes to the rain chamber. It does its poo. From the poo, hang up, and then you put them away for 15 minutes with the lights off, and then boom, they all eat. And that's basically the system here for all your animals, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this was passed down from Steve. Steve Volk told you this one too?
Steve Volk told us about, he uses a toaster oven.
Epic.
So he told us about the toaster oven. Basically, he's our mentor. I mean,
yeah,
I'm not saying everything I do came from Steve Volk. He might not agree with some of the stuff. I don't know, but just like he is our mentor. Just like I said when Isis was so puffy the other day.
Calmed you down.
Yeah, but the time before that, he told me it was normal, but she was still so puffy. I was thinking, what if she's pregnant? So I sent him a picture. He's like, Amy, the snake's not pregnant. You would have known when she ovulated.
Yeah, you would.
And Zoltas and Isis were together on and off all through November and December.
It's cool to have high hopes. It's okay. You never know.
Yeah.
Day by day. It's about to happen. It's just a matter of time. And trust Steve Volk when he says, when it's going to go down, because the ovulation on those things, they're gigantic and you can't miss it. For somebody who sees their snakes as much as you do, you ain't missing something like that. So, oh man, it's all good. You're getting there.
There are 7 cameras in this room. I can look at them on my phone anytime I want to, which is probably way too much.
And where in Arizona are you? You're in Tucson still, or where are you at in Arizona?
I'm from Tucson, but now I'm fortunate enough to live in Hot Springs, Arkansas. So it's
you're in Arkansas.
And we have high humidity here, so that's really helpful. We don't have to do a lot of work. If we lived in Tucson, it would take a lot more to keep it moist and stuff.
And this is why, a lot of people need to understand how some people just have it better than others when it comes to like humidity, weather, and so a lot of people who ask me for advice and ask how I run my room. I live in Southern California, so a lot of things I can get away with more than somebody in Colorado or Utah or like, somewhere in Indianapolis. So, you got to enjoy where you live sometimes, man. Arkansas, like you said, your humidity is probably always on point just because where you're at. So, I think that's pretty awesome. Also the rain chamber thing. I mean, I personally, what I do, like, I technically don't need to do a rain chamber because they have their moments when they do want to do their thing. But if I need them to go, all I have to do is take them outside and, basically dump them with water. Because let me ask you this: you've been in the wild where it's been raining, correct? And the rain is dropping down pretty aggressively, isn't it?
Yes, and the drops are big, and the animals are very active in the rain.
Okay.
It really, pretty much anytime we find them in the rain, they're stretched out and slithering.
Right. So wouldn't you recommend that everyone mist or spray down their emeralds if they have it? Because some people don't believe in misting or spraying. They feel like these snakes purposely get away from the rain on purpose. So why drench them? This isn't coming from me. Trust me. I believe in misting. I'm a big mister. So I'm curious on what your thoughts are on that.
Well, my personal opinion, I especially feel sad for the wild caught northerns that come through and, are possibly dehydrated before you get them.
Right.
And then they just don't really know how to drink out of a bowl, because I mean, I have seen some of these animals drink for 20 minutes straight. Even, I mean, Cash and Zaltis both, they'll get in that rain chamber and it doesn't matter how long I leave them in there, they will be visibly drinking the entire time.
Wow.
So I just really think that the rain is really important, especially for those guys. I mean, these other ones, they were raised with it, but mine love it. They like to get sprayed. Some more than others, and some of them I'll do it and they'll move away from it, so I'll just stop and go to the next one. But generally they seem to like the rain. But it's also temperature controlled, which I think is also another huge thing.
And then to also mention, you have misters or automatic sprayers in each individual of their enclosures, right? So how often are those going off?
6 times a day.
Wow, dude, no way.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's awesome. I love hearing this because this is like, I feel like this is what it is. Now, a lot of the water accumulates where? Like, I do see you have some tubs and bins. Is that where a lot of it goes, or where does a lot of the water go? If you're spraying that much during the day, I'm just curious what you do with the water.
And I also get that hose and spray everything like crazy too. But there are puppy pads at the bottom of each enclosure. And then all these plants, they get a lot of the moisture.
Wow.
And then the puppy pads, preserve the moisture. But really the plants use a lot of it. I don't have any overwatering. Well,
Right.
My husband wouldn't agree with that statement. He thinks I get it way too wet in there, but the animals like it. They're so healthy.
I thought I was doing things correctly with my pothos plants, and my buddy Alex comes over and says, "You're spraying you water your plants way too much." And I was like, and he says that's where all the flies come from. I don't even have flies. I don't know what he's talking about, but I don't know. I try to give them water. I feel like as they need it, and I feel like they like it more often than once a week. I don't know. Call me crazy, but I want to get into a topic here because as you know, Amy, being somebody who's crazy over these basins and these emeralds, you're not the only one. These are really popular snakes as people are coming into this game. Like, let's just say the ball python game is probably the biggest foundation of people getting into this and getting into other species, right? But as you know, basins are expensive. They're not cheap. They're very hard to find. Even a United States captain born and bred northern, good luck even trying to find one of those. But either way, those are difficult feats like to accomplish when it comes to getting into this game. So people, what do? They go to snake shows and they run into an import. And then they see this import for $500 or so. And from what my experience, you're at a best case scenario, you're at a 50% chance that this thing is going to not throw up on you. Okay. And I want best case. That's best case. That's if if you know the importer, right? But I want to know what your thoughts are on why they're coming in either jacked up to the point where they can't digest anything, or to the point where, hey, they can make it. Some can make it. What is it you feel like?
I have a lot of theories on that. I'll say a couple.
Please.
I think the dehydration is a big one. I think and this is all my opinion. I have no medical
course
on these animals. I just, in my opinion, dehydration would probably be a huge thing that would cause problems with digestion. But then that doesn't translate the contagiousness of it.
Right.
So, it's a crypto disease, which crypto means we have no idea where it came from or where it's caused, what the cause is. So it's a crypto disease and we have no idea about it. So between stress, but I think they can handle a lot more stress with less dehydration. So I think anything could in general. Some other theories that I might think, sometimes the animals aren't always, captured in the most nicest way, in the nicest way.
Imagine. Right.
So, things like that. I did have a great opportunity of going with, like I said, Igor's team in Suriname. My second trip, the first trip I was with a couple of trappers, but the second time I went, I was with ex-trappers. Mark and Tony, they're ex-trappers. They've been working together for 30 years, but now over the past going on about 7 years, they want to work their way into tourism and conservation. So we took a trip. I was their first person they got to take out when they were super excited about it. And we took a very rugged trip into the jungle. And thankfully, to Igor's advice and knowledge, and pretty much that's just how these guys do it in Suriname, traveling by river instead of by land, it saves the day. I don't even know if I would have kept going back if I had to keep traveling by land. Traveling by river makes it so clean and nice and much less bugs and thorns and all the venomous spiders and all the stuff,
Oh my God. Did you say spiders? God, venomous?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, that's my little Achilles heels is I'm not a spider person, unfortunately. Like I'm terrified of spiders. I don't want to say I'm terrified. I could handle seeing one, but just being as a kid running into webs and spiders on my face and stuff, I just can never handle that. Like never. And I feel like I'm always worried about running into spiders now. But back to the topic real quick of the imports. I mean, do you suggest I let my friends buy imports at a reptile show, or should I talk them out of it? What do you think I should do with that?
Well, it's hard for me to answer that question. I have no idea.
What would you let your friend? What would you let your friend do? If I'm your friend, I am your friend, Amy. If I call you Amy, hi.
So what I'm going to say is that I think people totally disagree with this, but you see the snake there, don't you want to just save it? And I know it's like feeding the trade, and you don't want to encourage people to bring in more imports, but it's like there's the animal, and you can do a good job with it. If you love it, you have to take it. I would never take one into my house, obviously, because I would never risk these guys.
Right.
But sure, if I had a friend who found one, someone's going to get it.
And you know what's crazy, Amy, is like I've had my first experience with these emeralds were imports. I went through the ringer, and then I went through what I went through and stopped working with the importer I was working with and just focused on what I had and kept it US CBB, right? But then I don't know what happened to me for whatever reason. February at Arlington, I'm just walking around minding my business, and then I see this big, beautiful northern emerald tree boa just like screaming my name, and I'm like, why am I like considering this right now? And then I talked to the guy. I'm like, do you mind if I open it and check her out? Can I look at her mouth? And he's like, yeah, go ahead. He's like, I literally haven't even took her to my collection. Like literally, she's fresh off the crate. And I'm like, oh, great. So maybe she hasn't been in a lot of hands. And I'm thinking all this stuff. So long story short, what do? I buy her. And right away, the most shyest animal, wants nothing to do with food. This is in February. It just ate its first meal and had its first shed like probably 2 weeks ago.
Wow.
and it
that
just
was scary.
Yes, but also like I noticed how good it looked. So I wasn't really too concerned about wanting to get food. You have other people that recommend treating it with parasite stuff and all that. And I'm like, it doesn't look like it needs all that, So I like, obviously it's away from all this stuff. Like I'm in the room where all my emeralds and green trees are. So this thing was in the washroom, it was by itself. And literally, I had Warren Booth walking me through the whole process and telling me not even trying to feed it. He's like, don't worry about feeding it right now until it gives you kind of gives you a sign that it wants to eat. And sure enough, it took a live jumbo mouse, but that's all it was. And it took it and then went right into shed right after that. And now this animal, I don't want to say it's thriving yet, knock on wood, it hasn't, it's digesting and eating its stuff, but man, it's just, you just never know. It's such a dice roller. Like, you're just rolling the dice every time with them. And, you know, all I could say to myself, Amy, is like, someone else is going to get that snake. And I'm like, I have a good feeling that you know, I just took the chance, and I documented it too. I have a YouTube channel. So I was like, I'm going to document what you should do when buying an import, and, you know, good or bad, I'm going to let it all out there. And if it regurges, I'm going to show the regurg and put it out there and let people know this is what happens. But here we are, man. I don't know. I don't know if I could ever say no to a beautiful import, Amy. And I think that's a bad thing.
It's hard. It's hard even in Suriname, you know, like
Oh yeah, I can imagine.
The first trip I was with the trappers. So whatever animals we got, we're going to go to export anyway. So you know, Igor told my husband, you know, you can get an export license. So Larry was Googling and looking into it, and
right.
You know, so
yeah.
Yes, it's hard to have them in your hands. I mean, I'm holding these beautiful, wild, big, huge, healthy snakes, and they're, you know, just the same as I know what you guys saw with Isis, but she was totally, I could have managed her differently, and she would have acted differently.
You keep going back to that. You can't let that go, can you?
Well, it's the same way with those wild ones. That's why I'm saying, because
right,
they're
okay,
striking
right.
too. But if you know, manage them to show them, you know, something in front of them that they can be interested in, and then they'll stretch that way, you know, and you can handle them. So you're just handling these wild animals, and it feels so amazing. It's hard, you know, you want them to be free, but you also want them.
How many of the emeralds did you see in the wild that didn't look good? Did you see any that looked like shit? Okay. And they look pretty roughed up?
That my first trip when I was with the trappers, there were 3 emeralds they left behind. They were just too skinny and they didn't look healthy. And then my next trip, I didn't get to say with Tony and Mark, what we did is we went through a highly trafficked area where emeralds had just been taken days before by an actual relative of one of them. And so we knew exactly where the major trafficking area is because they used to do it.
Right.
And so we went there and we collected all the animals we could find, like emeralds. You can't even imagine. Amazon tree boas are literally like bulbs on a Christmas tree. They're everywhere, all different colors, sizes. Wow. So we ended up taking 12 animals. We left the common looking animals because they're not a big deal, but we took like the bright orange Amazon tree boa and a really cool calico looking one, all the emeralds we could find, and we collected them and we took them far, far, far down a little thing. We couldn't even use the motor of our boat. We had to paddle. So we moved them to a place where the trappers are not going to get into.
Every time I can't stop laughing when you say trappers, you know, because this is trap talk. So I call myself a trapper, but you're not calling, you know, you're talking about an actual trapper. So I think it's awesome. But I don't like trappers though. Like those kind of trappers I don't like, because I'm sure they're not capturing the animal the way it should be captured. It's more of a,
well, some of them do, like Mark and Tony, they use a fantastic system. I have videos posted of it. It's just a long thing with a Y on the end, and they get the animal and shake the tree a little bit and just twist it around, and it comes right down. I have tons of video. The guys I was with the first time, they would get the animal down like kind of the same way, but instead of getting on a stick, which Mark is an expert at, the other fellas would kind of get the snake lower, and then they would have the bag inside out over their hand and just put it gently over the face and slip the animal into the bag. So I actually didn't witness any bad trapping, but I heard about it.
Okay. That's good that you didn't get to witness it, because I'm sure you wouldn't go for it. You'd probably be like, stop. Knowing you'd be like, don't do that.
The first trip was really hard. You know, I knew I was with people that was their profession. You know, that's legal there. It's a regular profession. Right. Or at least for like fishermen and people who spend a lot of time on the river, it's kind of just like, you know, extra money. They don't live on it, but they can make good money from it. So I was with them. Anything on that first trip that could go into a bag or a cooler was killed or caught. I mean, we had everything. I have videos of, it didn't matter what it was. That's what they do, these guys. So they got tons of fish, paca, which look like big rats.
Right.
Damn. Every kind of reptile you can imagine.
I mean, that's their source of income out there. What are you going to do? That's the shit about third world countries. People don't know what they got to do to survive out there, and it's just a lot. It's just a whole different ball game, So I hear what you're saying.
Suriname is third world. I just want to say that.
Oh, is it not? I'm sorry. I
really don't know.
I don't know what I always think. Whatever's not America's third world, and I'm sorry.
Right.
I don't mean to mess that up for anyone. Whoever's out there in a different country, like fuck you, MJ. I don't mean that. I'm sorry.
Rocks.
Yeah, my bad. Yeah, sure. No, I'm not third world in my eyes. But one question I have for you, Amy, because as much as we were talking about people new coming into this, one thing, you're not, you're no stranger to Facebook groups, the Amazon. By the way, shout out to the Amazon Basin Emerald Tree group that we're part of on Facebook, because that's one of my favorite groups to be a part of. But every now and then, you have a newcomer that wants to just kind of do things the way they want to do, and what I'm trying to say is a lot of people like to just throw their non-experience with an emerald into a bioactive system, and they want soil, they want live plants. And I'm not saying that's an impossible feat, but what's your how do you look at someone who wants to have one of these animals in a bioactive system? Do you feel like that's something that is a feasible task, and it's something a lot of people should do it, or do you steer away from the bioactive system?
I would love to have a bioactive system. It's my dream. It's all my husband and I talk about. I want to build the whole room out there, all bioactive, with cinder block floor, everything. I use bugs in my plants right now, which I was going to mention when you said your friend said you had flies. You probably saw something, but I use these little mighty mites. They come in the mail right now every 2 weeks during this rainy season, but normally every month. And I just put the little bugs in here, and they eat larvae of anything. So I have no gnats. Once in a while, I'll see a gnat, but not often.
How do you get these mighty mites? What are the? What do you? From where?
This little container.
But is there like a company that you order them from? Who do you order them from?
Yeah, it just happens to be a company from Tucson, which I didn't even know. Sorry, I can't see.
What's it called?
I'm trying to get out the camera.
Right there. Okay, hold on. Okay. Fungus Gnat Predator.
By Arabico Organics.
Fungus Gnat Predator.
And they're called mighty mites.
Okay.
And they eat the larvae, and you can even use them for, I've never had to use them for it, but I've read a lot of different people saying that they used them to get rid of mites. So they will also eat the larvae of mites, and you can put them, you can just put a small plant, or if you're scared to put a plant, you can put some dirt, and these guys will go to town. They will eat all the larvae, and when there's nothing else to eat, they cannibalize.
So you have to have a plant. You have to have a plant, Amy. Like, in order for this to work, you have to have some sort of plant.
It seems like you would, for them to stay alive long enough. It seems like there should be maybe a lid with dirt or something, because they do live in the dirt.
Got it. Okay.
But I wanted to go back to your question about the bioactive.
Sure.
In my opinion, I think that anybody can do anything with enough resources and research. And if you are willing to invest the time, the money, and learn everything you need to learn to create the right bioactive environment, especially if you already have experience with it, I think that it could be fantastic. I would just love to have that. I think that if you don't know anything about bioactive or emeralds, and you're going to try to jump into both, it would be quite a feat, because this is a lot of work. I'm working my way up to bioactive. With these plants, you asked if I put ISIS right into these enclosures when we first got them. We just had some 4-foot Zen habitats, which is what we have, Jormungandr, the new one, in quarantine over there. Okay. And then also these enclosures, all the other enclosures we made, either out of PVC board or plexiglass. Wow.
I love it. I'm so interested about this gnat thing still. I think it's really I was looking at their website and just kind of see how much bottles were and whatnot. So I think it's pretty awesome. So, but yeah, here's the thing though. I've seen bioactive systems, and there's just a lot of work behind it. And I just want people to understand, if you're going to come into something new and then do something even more new by putting something in a bioactive. I hope you understand, like, you're really putting a lot of things aren't in your favor by doing that. I feel like I just, one thing I admire about what you have going on is, yeah, you do have plants, but you do have puppy pads. You're keeping things simple for now to get a better understanding on how you want things ran. You didn't just go right into it. And I wish people did that more,
Research is very important.
Right.
And like I said, my husband never even touched a snake before. So, this was his very first animals. And it was just because of the research that we did. And thankfully, having a mentor like Steve Volk, how can you go wrong if you do what he says? I do a lot of other stuff too, but I do keep his core of everything he's ever told me.
So since your collection's pretty, you have a pretty good solid group going on right now, are you still looking for more basins? Are you still out there just kind of gathering what you would add, or where are you at right now as far as how many basins you want?
Well, my husband said that he wants one for each letter of the alphabet. So that's 26.
I like your husband, dude. Round 2, I need your husband on this show. I mean, I gotta have. It's not. Is he too shy? Is he a camera shy guy?
He's not a camera person. He does not want to be on.
What about audio? Would it be okay with just audio? No visual. What if I go there in person? We talk in person. Is that okay?
Yeah. In person, he's happy to talk, but he doesn't want to go on a video or in front of a crowd. He has a lot of strengths, and he's amazing, but he doesn't like that.
Okay, I got to meet him. The guy sounds amazing because one thing I admire is somebody who has another half to go in on this passion on something, because that means sky's the limit. You have ideas, he has ideas, you guys make it happen. I feel like shit, that's the best case scenario for anybody, I feel like. So I think that's awesome, to be honest. But okay, overall, you have some raise ups right now. So you have basins that aren't quite adults. So what is your game plan when they become adults? Are you looking to have all enclosures like what you have behind you, like that size? Is that going to be your go-to minimum size for your adult basins, or what's your plan for the other basins that are growing up?
My plan is to either recreate this room by cementing the floor. I have all kinds of things. I won't go into all the details. It's too much. But I want to turn the whole room into, like, right now, when the snakes get to come out, I have to monitor them the whole time. I have to take like the distilling water system and put it all on the floor so they would never they've never gone even on that side of the room because they have all of these vines over here. Right. So I've never even had them try to go over there, but I still just put everything on the floor, and then they're safe and locked in here. But my goal is, and which I will do, is to have one big, huge enclosure with removable slots between them so that I can open them up anytime I want to, because I really like it. Like, Zoltus loves to travel around and go and visit ISIS. I did let him, one time I just left Asmoa's enclosure open just to kind of see. But I saw as soon as Zoltus started going in there, she just like came right out and left. So I got him out and put her back. She didn't like that. But Isis loves Zoltus. They get along. He does the stupidest stuff sometimes. He just does weird stuff. I have all kinds of videos of Zoltus too that I can particularly think of where Isis literally came and helped him out of a predicament because he was climbing on things that didn't make sense. Nothing he can get hurt on, but just anyway. So they spend a lot of time together, but I've never seen them connect. I think that they're too fat and happy to care about breeding. I didn't do any cycling of temperatures, lights, feeding. I didn't cycle anything. And then plus they have all this space. If I wanted to breed them seriously, I could force them to breed by cycling, putting them in a smaller enclosure with a couple little perches. I could do things. But for now, we're happy to just let them be happy and see what happens. But when we do get serious about breeding, we've got 3 animals coming up on age in 1 year. And then we've got 2 animals plenty old enough.
So you have a good feeling that if you leave things the way they are now, they're not going to breed, or do you feel like it's just going to be longer before that happens, or what do you think about that?
I think if I leave them long enough, it's possible. Of course, it's possible.
Yeah.
I don't know how likely it is, because animals do tend not to breed when they're extremely happy
Complacent.
to.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I'd have to give them a little stress with cycling the feeding and the temperatures.
And I feel like that's just kind of the natural stress that happens to them in the wild, like stuff that they do to make them feel like I need a breed, because of this and that. And if you want to talk to any successful Emerald Tree Boa out there, a boa breeder out there, food cycling is the huge part of their game plan. I don't care who it is. If they're good at breeding emeralds, it's all about food cycling. Yeah, I don't know, man.
I tried.
Yeah, I mean, just at the end of the day, I feel like yours aren't even even at that maturity peak yet, not even close. I mean, understand, I took over a group of Miss Willie lines. You've heard of Rico Wilder, I'm assuming, right? You know who Rico Wilder was? Okay, well, Rico Wilder was a legendary Emerald Tree Boa breeder. He had this line called Miss Willie lines.
Yes, I know who that is.
Yeah,
I read an article by him.
Yeah. So, I mean, I took over a group of his females. I don't even know where I was going with that. Now, what were we talking about? Oh yeah, the maturity. Okay. So I got these group of Miss Willie lines that were born in 2012. And one of my biggest concerns was their age. And Warren Booth told me that 10 years of age is like their peak position of wanting to breed, and, I feel like you said, if things just were to keep getting older and mature, what you have now, I'm sure they'll breed in it, no problem. I feel like they're just enjoying life. Like, they're just so young still. They're probably just like, they don't really know what real life is, as far as like, you know what I mean? Like, they're literally living a luxurious life. It's amazing how much nourishment, as far as enrichment they have just in their surroundings, being able to, crawl out of their enclosure and just see somebody else, like a neighbor, and food's not scarce. They're eating whenever they want, which, as far as when you tell them. And I don't know, I just think you're doing a really good job raising them. And I don't feel like breeding is a really big concern to you right now. And I feel like that's a good thing,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had never heard that about the peak maturity age of 10.
Yeah, I mean,
we're definitely not in a hurry. It's a little scary.
It is, dude. Okay, so understand this too, Amy.
I love these girls.
Thank you. Okay, so I breed chondros. I'm not gonna say I'm a chondro breeder. But I have a couple of clutches under my belt, and I went through the ringer. I've seen some sad things breeding chondros. Okay, but it made me love them as much as I do. But I've also heard sad things about breeding emeralds. Some really sad things. So I'm in no rush to kind of go through the heartbreak ringer with my emeralds. Like, I have. The youngest adult female I have is about 5-6 years old, so, and she's never been bred. I'm thinking about doing it this year, but I'm just not, I don't want to say I'm not looking forward to it, but I'm just scared. I'm scared, Amy. I just don't know what's going to happen.
I know.
But listen, I'm surrounded by some of the best in the game. And that's why I feel like I'm going to be in good hands, because the people I do talk to, they've been through it. I'm going to, and that's the thing, I'm good at taking advice, but from somebody who, I'm not somebody who takes advice from the whole world. I pick somebody who's my mentor and who really, I feel like, wants me to really be successful at what I'm doing. And I keep it simple. I'm not an advice hopper, if that makes sense. There's people that try to take advice from everyone and kind of like stir up their own thing. And I'm like, man, good luck with doing that. You just need to stick to one thing that works for somebody and, see if it works for you. And then you got to adjust from there, I feel like, but we'll see what happens. I don't know. I'm in no rush. But that being said, let me ask, I have a scenario for you, God forbid, or no, everything best case scenario. Let's just say you actually have some litters that you're getting. Do you ever see yourself wanting to sell to the public, or where do you see yourself doing with your productions if you ever get to that point? Do you want to just keep things in-house? Just curious on what your game plan would be.
It would really depend. Like I say things, well, if Zoltus and Isis have a litter, none of them are going anywhere. If Bella and Gishsida have babies, then the public can buy those You know, I can only keep so many, but I would definitely be picking my little Cassius Clay. He's just so beautiful, you know, and a couple of them are a little more common looking, but still have their distinct features. But like Zaltus and Isis, for example, they were holdbacks of Steve Volk. You know, I didn't get them. They were 3 years old when he decided to part with them.
Right.
And they're part of a special black line. So I would want to keep all of their babies. Plus, just because they're bigger animals, I'm more bonded with them. So who knows when they all grow up if I would be able to part with their offspring. But I do think with this many animals, I've got 4 males and 3 females. I do believe that we will have babies in the future. How I will part with them, I have no idea. We'll just have to see when it happens.
I mean, I'm rooting for you, but I feel like you said, man, with a group like that and with what you're doing, you know what I mean? Giving them everything they need and what they want, it's literally just a matter of time.
Yeah. And I have a list on my spreadsheet for my animal spreadsheet of the people who have asked me to be on a list who have beautiful habitats for their animals, are living like my animals are living. So if I ever did decide to sell one of my animals, it would definitely go to somebody who cares like that.
Well, listen, I'm not one to be asked to be put on a list, but can I give you a little video tour of my room and then maybe you put my name on that list?
Yeah.
I love it. No, honestly, I love it. I have a wrap up question before we get into some hot seat questions. Okay, Amy. And I'm just curious what your advice would be to anybody out there who's, you know, waited so long to pull the trigger, right? And done research and know they want an emerald, but having a hard time finding one and literally on the fence on if they should go the import route or not, or they should just hold tight and just hang on and wait for that US CBB. Either way, what would be your advice? And that being said, what are some tips you have for anyone to get their hands on a United States captain born and bred, like maybe something that you did with to get Steve Volk's production, anything like that?
What I did is I wrote a common message and I sent it to every single solitary name that anybody threw at me. Emails, I sent Facebook messages, I friended those people on Facebook. I would just, you know, somebody said they had something coming up, I would keep asking. You know, just went on and on with it. And it went on for about 4 months when I finally found Asmoir. And then it was probably about, well, that was June. And then by October, Steve Volk contacted me via email about Zaltus and Isis.
Wow.
So, and also when I went to meet Zaltus and Isis, we drove up there to meet them. We weren't ready to take them home yet. Well, as soon as Steve Volk opened Isis's enclosure, she just slithered right out onto Steve Volk, me, and then across Larry. And she's just always been really curious and interactive. So that was a really cool thing to get to have her do that. And I told Steve, I said, wow, she's so domesticated. He's like, Amy, I've never held this animal. So she's just has that personality.
And just to remind people, that's the snake behind you right there, right? The one.
Yes. She was just showing off.
Oh my God, I love it. I mean, because listen, at the end of the day, an animal will be an animal. You know, that you know, I'm not saying that animal is not something you can't just take out, and I'm sure you do all the time. But there was something triggered in that animal's brain right then and there, and it wanted something, one thing only, and that's that food.
It is hungry, and and I'm hot. The phone's hot, so
it's feeling the vibe.
I know it seems like, oh my God, that snake was so stressed out. That's so mean. That snake would eat right now. I could pull her back out right now. She would come out. That's just her.
I don't think people
are not.
I don't think
danger.
I don't think people understand how snakes really act when they're stressed. I mean, when I'm saying if a snake is really stressed, it's not doing good at all. Like I feel like it's literally shut down to the point where, like that big emerald I took in, the one that just wanted nothing to do with food. I'm pretty sure that thing was acting so shy because it was stressed out of its mind. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? And so that snake right there, the fact that it's so alert and
He's so bold.
There's no stress going on. That snake feels very confident of its surroundings, and it's pretty sure it's just demanding something. You know what I mean? And I mean, I don't know.
He's very demanding. When I had German Shepherds, that's how I chose my puppy, by the one that was the most demanding, because those were the smart. But like
that's a good point.
I could leave Ninjishita's door open all night long, and he would never come out of that enclosure. Never. And
wow.
I open up his enclosure and he'll just go deeper in there. And like Isis and Zoltus and Azzy and Cash even, you open their door and they're just coming out, like stretching their whole body out to you.
Wow.
So animals that are shy and stressed are not the ones that are snapping at my hot body, which I didn't mean that.
You just that was funny. What amazing time, Amy. Thank you so much. Listen, we have hot seat questions before I let you leave, okay? And then once we get these hot seat questions done, then you get to enjoy the rest of your evening. How's that sound?
Sure.
All right. So hot seat questions. Oh my God, did I get my phone wet? That's not good. All right. So hot seat questions for Amy. Amy, do me a big favor. These hot seat questions are not meant to we don't need an explanation. The quicker the better. That's how these hot seat questions work.
Okay.
Are you ready for these?
I think so.
All right, here we go. Hot seat questions coming in hot. Frozen, thawed, or live?
Frozen, thawed, and heated up in the toaster oven so it smells good.
Respect. Egg cut or no cut? So would you ever cut a snake egg or would you never cut a snake egg?
My snakes are live birth, so I don't have an answer to that.
What about if you had it? What if you did have a snake egg? What would you do?
I would have to have information on what would be the benefits of cutting or not cutting, and I would need to know a lot of stuff to answer that.
Orange Emerald Neo or green Emerald Neo?
Well, I really love the color change, so I'm going to say the more orange, the brighter the red, the better.
Pre-first shed meal or post-first shed meal?
Pre-first shed meal?
Yeah, would you offer a meal before its first shed, or would you wait for the shed and then offer it a meal?
Oh no, I would give it the meal right away. I believe, like, when I get a new animal, I just wait like 48 hours, maybe 72. They're already stressed, and getting that meal in them, I just feel like it's de-stresses them to sit fat and happy on their heat spot instead of wondering if they're going to get food. I definitely would feed them right away. And my snakes, every snake I have, shed right after the first feed. Sorry, that was a long answer.
You're fine. No, you're good. Yay imports or boo imports? If it was up to you, you got to pick.
I mean, it's like you said, 50-50 chance. I can't answer that. It's a 50-50 chance.
It's a hot.
You're already sitting there and you find it, get it.
Amy, if it was up to you to make the law on taking imports in or out, would you say yes to that, or would you say no? I need to know. No. Okay. How about this? What's one reptile you could if you could import one reptile around the world, any reptile, what would it be?
Oh my God. Well,
you can say Basin.
One of my Basin from Brazil, straight from Brazil, a real one from the wild.
What's one reptile nobody should ever import ever again? Leave it alone.
These reptiles, the emeralds, they should get to stay in the wild.
Okay, respect. Yay sports or
these guys could live in the wild.
Yay sports or boo sports?
Sports? Yay. Yeah.
Favorite sport?
Gymnastics.
Oh, okay. Respect. Steak or fish?
Snake.
No, steak, like eat. Steak or fish?
Oh, fish.
Okay. Favorite fish? Like to eat?
Oh, God. Sea bass, hands down.
Ooh, nice. I like that. Van Halen or Sammy Hagar?
Van Halen, only because I know what he looks like. I don't know.
West Coast rap or East Coast rap?
I probably like all of it. I don't know the difference. East Coast.
Okay, East Coast. All right, little word association. First thing to come to mind: milk,
Wilk.
substrate,
Habitat.
FedEx shipping,
My mighty mites, my bugs.
ovulation,
A football-sized stomach.
stuck shed,
Painter's tape.
ovulation.
A football.
Oh, I think you already said that. My bad. Instagram trolls.
Keep them coming.
I love it. Okay, how about this, Amy? If you had to get rid of one platform forever, and I mean forever, never coming back, are we getting rid of Instagram or Facebook? Which one needs to go? Careful.
I'm
now.
gonna. Oh my God.
Last one. Come on, Amy. You're almost there. Finish strong. Let's go. Which one needs to go?
Facebook.
Yeah, you did it. Oh, get out of your Facebook. I love it. Hey, Amy, we had over 60 people at one point tapping in for this interview. What do you have to say to everyone loving this, giving you mad support, all your supporters out there? What do you have to say to them?
Please let your animals explore and appreciate their curiosity and give them real rain droplets and heat up their rats so they can smell it because they love that.
All solid advice right there. Seriously, if you do what she said, your emerald's going to thrive. I'm dead serious. That's amazing advice. And Amy, it was a pleasure meeting you. This will not be the only time I have you on the show. There's definitely a round 2 in the future. I could tell you that. But thank you so much for giving us this time. But that's a wrap for Amy, for Amy from Happy Basins, ladies and gentlemen.
Woo! Thank you very much.
Have a good night. Thank you, Amy. Have a good night, okay?
Bye, Michael. Thank you.
What an awesome lady, man. That was a great episode, packed full of knowledge. Like I said, there's not too many people out there you get to sit down and talk to about, them actually seeing these in the wild. So obviously the passion's there, knowledge is there. I am rooting for Amy over there at Happy Basin. So guys, thank you so much. If you tapped in and forgot to hit the like button, it's never too late to get the likes up for Amy here. But yeah, man, thank you so much. This was an awesome episode. Appreciate everyone who tapped in. Make sure you hit that subscribe button before you head out. And yeah, drop a comment. Let me know what you guys like the best of this episode. I mean, this is definitely going to be something I'm going to watch over and over again. Great information. You guys enjoy the rest of your night, and I'll catch you guys here next time on another Trap Talk with MJ. And I'm out. Cheers.